of all, take the bass out of your voice.
My son right here. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Take the bass out your voice.
Go ahead, sir.
Whatever you need me to be.
I'm listening, sir. That's what delusion does. Make you believe you can be anything you want to be. Yeah, we're not gonna have a respectful conversation if you're gonna keep addressing my son as a woman. Not when you talking to me, sir.
Breaking news. If it bleeds, it leads. In your news today.
You are now tuned in to Dirty Laundry Media.
Stand by.
What's going on, Dirty Laundry family? It's your man online, Bill Money, and I am tapping in with another video. Thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. And I would ask if you would please subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell as well. And like this video, guys. I hope all is well with you on this Martin Luther King Day.
I have a dream.
I hope you all had a safe and productive weekend. But I want to get back on track here on this channel. I've been pumping my other channel, Streets Gotta Eat. I'll drop the link in the description. I'm going to ask if you would also go over there to that channel. I need your support. I need your subscriptions. And I need you to spend some time on the channel watching the content. Thank you very much. But I am reposting this video. Over the last couple of months, I've had to call my channel of quite a few videos in an attempt to try to get monetized, and I'm going back and forth with YouTube, but eventually we'll get it right. But this is one of the videos that I took down, I guess because I didn't add any commentary or production value to it. And this is a clip of our sister Angela Stanton King. She went live several months ago with Jason Lee on Hollywood Unlocked and two of his co-hosts, and they had a spirited back and forth about Angela's political views, being that she is a conservative leaning person. I'm not going to call her a Republican because I don't think she identifies as a Republican or a Democrat at this time. But she's definitely a conservative leaning person. And she was aligned with Trump at the time that she made her run for Congress. And so yeah, she had a interview with Jason Lee in Hollywood Unlocked to discuss her political views and to discuss her interactions with her son, Jabion, who goes by JB's. I guess in certain circles, and I just want to be respectful to all parties involved. But it was a tense discussion. It started off on the wrong foot because, I think Angela kind of going in felt that there was going to be some shade, that it was going to be some aggression directed her way for her political views and for her stance as far as the LGBTQ movement and her son in particular. So I wanted to repost this video with a little bit of commentary, just to kind of set it up. I want you guys to check it out. There's two parts to this. I'm going to post them separately, and I definitely want you guys to chime in. Let me know what you think. Angela is a very polarizing figure in that she speaks her mind under any circumstance, and not everybody is comfortable with that, but I'm comfortable with that. We need more people like Mrs. King, and I 100% support her in her movement. So again, like this video. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. I appreciate you. And enjoy this video. Hop down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. It's your man online, Bill Money, tapping in, and I'll see you on the next video.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
We can see you.
Grab something. Okay.
Okay, hi, nice to meet you. So I'm Jason Lee. That's Blue Taluzma. That's DJ Damage. Welcome to the show. Okay, now is there a way to pull your camera down, tilt it down just a little bit, so that way you're like centered properly? Because we want to make sure you look good. That's perfect. Okay, cool. All right. So let me just make sure I have the new project. You have a new book called "Caught in the Coup."
Caught in the coup. That's correct.
Okay, cool. All right, Johnny, single cam in, tell me when you're ready. Ready? Okay, so Angela, I'm just gonna welcome you to the show, and then because we shoot something at the top before the show, we'll just get right into it and go there. Okay?
Cool.
Okay. Should we shut the door? Can you guys shut the door, please? Thank you. All right. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. So welcome, wait, let me back up, sorry. 3, 2, 1. Welcome best-selling author, 3, 2. Welcome best-selling author, political candidate, and mother, Angela Stanton King. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Of course, so you have been on the Hollywood Unlocked blog. You've been on the Hollywood Unlocked show. We just recently interviewed your daughter JB's, who's been very vocal about her movement and the trans movement that she's a part of. And so we wanted to welcome you here because although you've been talked a lot about, you haven't been talked to. And I just thought it was fair to open up the conversation to hear your point of view, as you are a very vocal person. And so I want to welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
And so one of the things that, or at least where I first saw you were, once I became aware of who Angela Stanton King was, it was when you were pardoned by former President Donald Trump. And when you were released, it almost seemed as if you had taken on the life of wanting to change the country and join, I think, the Conservative Party, right?
Well, just to clarify, I got released in 2005, so I wasn't released from prison when I got the pardon from President Trump. And it was my experience after getting out of prison and rebuilding my life and getting educated on politics that I decided that I wanted to become more of a conservative versus a Democrat. And I'd always been involved in the nonprofit sector and working in my community, so I thought that Congress would basically be the same thing.
So when you got released from prison and then later pardoned, at what part during that journey did you decide that in terms of politics, the Conservative Party was more aligned with where your personal interests lie?
From my own personal experience, for one, I had been born into poverty, generational welfare recipient. And when I got released from prison, because I was a convicted felon, I couldn't get welfare benefits. And because I couldn't get food stamps and Section 8 and be able to depend on that assistance on the first of every month, it really kind of like kicked me out of the nest and made me discover my greatness. And I realized that I could not only become a business owner, but I could become financially free by starting my own business. And I realized that a lot of the Democrat policies, to me, that constantly push welfare, it keeps people like me and people from the community that I come from stuck because we get content and we get comfortable with receiving a certain amount of money every month from the government that we know is guaranteed.
So when you look at the past 4 years that we had under the Trump administration, I know that he, pardoned you, and so I don't know your relationship with him or what your thoughts on him were. When you look at the practices that he had with the kids in cages at the border, or even the selection of people in his cabinet, like Betsy DeVos was over education, who probably couldn't even think herself out of a Pringles can. Do you align yourself with those policies, or is it just the overall conservative ideal for what America should look like?
So, as a criminal justice reform advocate, when you say kids in cages, you have to understand that my perception of kids in cages is totally different from what the media is hyped up. I work in juvenile detention centers. I've worked with our kids that are in cages across this nation that somehow we have forgotten about. I also know that as an American citizen, if you're arrested and you have your child with you, your child is not going to go to jail with you. You're going to be separated from your child. This is American law. I too was separated from my child after giving birth in chains and had her snatched right out of my arms, and Donald Trump was not the president. So when you come to a certain country and there are laws that apply to their own citizens, then you are going to be expected to be handled by those same laws. So any person in America that has ever been arrested and had their child with them, they've been separated from their family. So I understand how media hype is, and I understand the difference between what's factual and what's just being blown up in the media to control the emotions of the people.
See, here's the thing that I have a question about. You said our kids, as if the kids in cages, the immigrant children, cannot also be black. There are black children in some of those cages. In fact, a big majority of them are Haitian, which are black people, right?
So I wasn't, when I said our kids, I wasn't speaking about color. I'm speaking about American children. So I'm not basing it on color.
But I'm basing it on color, saying that if I see a black child from any country in a cage, as a black person who's pro-black, I'm going to feel away. So I guess my question to you directly is, the day that Trump was elected as president was the day that we had the highest instances of hate crimes against people of color that entire year. He has unprecedentedly ushered in a time of hate being emboldened. How do you reconcile being about your community with a man who's literally and statistically, not media-wise, literally emboldened hate against your own people? And again, I thought that this interview was going to be about me and my son and not about some people trying to make me defend Trump. But let me tell you about what I know about Trump and what I know about the Black Lives Matter movement. I know that the Black Lives Matter movement was built off of the backs of dead black men that were killed up under the Obama administration. Obama and Joe Biden did nothing at all to rectify the behavior of police killing. So a lot of that rolled over on Trump. Now, what I do know from being able to work with him personally, as being someone that honestly believes Black Lives Matter, I know that this president was pro-life. That's why I stood behind him, because I understand the racism behind abortion. I also know that this president permanently funded black historical colleges so they didn't have to continue to come back and forth every year for money. I also know that this president, prior to COVID, had the lowest black unemployment. I also know that this president was responsible for not only signing an executive order reuniting the immigrant families at the border, because the news never reported that, but he also signed the First Step Act, which I was very effective in, which reunited a lot of our families that were separated by the 94 crime bill put in place by mass incarceration. So just like you were talking about, you know, supporting this man or the kids in cages or our kids or all kids, my thing is, these are things that I was fighting for before Trump got in office. So if we really care about reuniting families, if we really care about children in cages, then the fight starts at home. It doesn't start when the media creates a frenzy about people crashing our borders. So my thing is, when we're talking about America and we're talking about Congress and we're talking about presidents, the way that I look at it is, I'm a parent. So as a parent, I have a responsibility to take care of my children and the responsibility I have in my home. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't help the children that are across the street, down the street, or around the corner, but that means that I have a responsibility to take care of my children first. And once my home is taken care of, then absolutely I will help other people. So I think that we have all had a misunderstanding when it comes to our responsibilities as a nation. Now, I'm not saying don't take care of other people, but I am saying, wait a minute, if we can fight for them, then most certainly we can fight for us. So I think that this is all about perception.
Well, I'm glad that you said all that. Because I'm glad you said all that, because the reason why we did invite you here, and speaking of children, was to talk about your child that you continue to misgender. So I do want to go to that. But the reason why
I'm so glad you said that, because do you see? But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
We're gonna get to, I didn't interrupt. No, I didn't interrupt.
Okay. I can't wait.
Be very respectful. I want to be very, I can't wait either. We're going to get there. But the reason why we ask the politics is because for some of our audience, they may not know you. I know you from social media, but I don't know you. And I think one thing that we try to do here on Hollywood Unlocked is allow people to show themselves and who they are, right? You have been very vocal in your support of Trump and certain politics, and you are very articulate in how you lay it out. But sometimes when I look at like Diamond and Silk, they black and look like us, and they sometimes sound articulate, but they full of shit. And I'm not saying you are, but I'm trying to understand for our audience where your mind is, because when we do get to talking about your child, you just talked about how we got to care for our kids back home, and the purpose of what led us here beyond getting to know who you were, was the fact that you are in a very big fallout with your own child. So I did want to kind of put that context out there, but I hand it back over to you.
Okay, now let's address the fact that you just basically said that I'm misgendering my own child, because it's the audacity for me. Because what I have right here in my hand is called a receipt. This is a birth certificate, right? I was there. I gave birth. See, I don't remember seeing anybody on this panel that was in the hospital room with me when I gave birth to my son. Now, I don't know if any of you have looked down in his pants to see exactly what his anatomy is, whether he has a penis or a vagina. But the last time I checked, his mama, he had a penis. So for me, I feel that it's very disrespectful, because this is what we have here. There's only one person on this earth that gave birth to Javian. That's me. I can't expect anybody else to feel the way that I do, because I'm the only one that is his mother. But what is disrespectful is for you as a man, right? Because that's just like if I see your mama and I say your mama is your daddy. That's disrespectful. That is my son. Now, if you want to address him as a woman, you can, but to feel like you have the right to force me to call my man child that I birthed, that I raised, that I sacrificed for a woman, that's disrespectful. Now, we don't have to agree, but what gives you, if you all feel like you can pressure me enough to make me believe that he's a woman, then why do you all feel like I don't have the right as his mama to pressure him enough to make him believe that he's a man? How do you all have more rights and influence than me, and I'm the mother?
That is not how that works.
No, that is how that works.
I don't have more rights. I don't have more rights over your child than you do, but your child has more rights over their life than you do.
Okay.
And I think that why you and this I hope and I don't expect us to agree. I expect us to have a dialogue where we can both get out our points of view. And if you get something out of it, great. If I get something out of it, great. But you birthed Javian for sure, but then Javian grew into identifying as JB's. And in my world, I'm a gay man. Blue is a pansexual. Damage is a heterosexual man who is raising a young boy. When you raise,
I'm confused already. Break that down for me one more time. Explain to me what a pansexual is. We just all here for understanding.
So right now, for sure. So I'll be honest with you. I learned the pansexual last year, so okay. I'm still learning things. Let me first start by saying I am a homosexual like a motherfucker. I am gay, proud to be gay. I wasn't. I was with women until I was 9. Identified different things that I liked and experiences that led me to identifying as a gay man. Blue, do you want to explain what a pansexual is?
A pansexual person is somebody who loves somebody who's male, female, or trans. So we would be the people who would find it in our hearts to be able to love somebody like your daughter. And also, there was a point
ma'am, sir. If you're gonna call him my daughter, I'm gonna call you a man. If you're gonna call him a woman, I'm gonna address you as a man for the rest of the show. Okay, well, let's just call him Jay. Let's just say Jay. Let's be respectful. Let's be respectful to everybody, because I am his mother and I do deserve respect as his mother, because you wouldn't want me to disrespect your mother.
Can I speak now?
Yes, sir, you can.
So I never, first of all, your daughter asked to be called that. I never asked.
But you're not talking to my daughter right now. You're talking to me. You're talking to me. You're not talking to my daughter. So my son.
First of all, take the bass out of your voice.
My son right here. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Take the bass out your voice.
Go ahead, sir.
Whatever you need me to be.
I'm listening, sir. That's what delusion does. Make you believe you can be anything you want to be. Yeah, we're not gonna have a respectful conversation if you're gonna keep addressing my son as a woman. Not when you talking to me, sir.
Huh?